earGROUND New Voices Amplified. My name is Plot Mark, and welcome to the program that gives you some of the new voices from the continent. And today I'll be speaking to an artist, fastest rising music sensation, a songwriter from South Africa. But before we do that, I'm just going to take a small break and then we introduce our guest for today. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Sorry about the technical glitches from our background sound there, but interlude. Welcome back to earGROUND. So like today I said, I'm joined in by an artist from South Africa, Mzansi. Her name is Deni. Deni, welcome to earGROUND.
Hi, how are you? Hi to all your listeners and everybody who's going to tune in.
Great. It's an honor to have you on this show at such a time that you've just dropped a single, your first solo project. But before we get much into that detail, most of our listeners and our viewers would want to know who's Deni.
All right. Thanks for the mic. Deni is a singer-songwriter. I'm from the Northwest Province in a small town called Mafikeng. And I pretty much started, doing music at a very young age. Started playing instruments. I've played in an orchestra. I've been in choirs, and I'm a classically trained singer. And once I completed my studies and I moved to Gauteng, I, started working, and I ended up leaving my corporate job to focus on business and focus on the music more. And fast forward to today, yes, you're right. Yesterday, my first single came out, and yes, it's available on all major platforms for streaming and downloading and buying and listening.
Wow, great. Congratulations. Still there. How do you define the music that you make? I was reading through your bio, and you say you're a Pan-African singer-songwriter. What does that entail to a layman?
So, when people ask about what genre of music I do, I always like to answer and say, I've created a blended sound for myself. And the reason that I call it blended is because my music is inspired a lot by my experiences and growing up and traveling around the world, the people that I've met and the different cultures that I've interacted with. When I was young, I went to a school for about 12 years, and it was an international school. So a lot of the kids at the school were from all over Africa. And so naturally from that, you sort of pick up certain ways of conversing, certain lingo, a certain, way of doing things and speaking, and you sort of get educated about all these different cultures. And from that, I also discovered my love for meeting people from outside South Africa, traveling around the world, and really just immersing myself in different cultures. And a lot of my music tells stories, and, I like to switch it up and try somehow to tell it from my perspective, with my slang, the way I speak, the things that I've learned. And I think what comes out of that is a very blended sound. It's not a sound that's typical to South Africa. And so, yes, that's why I call my music a blended sound. I use it's a little bit of everything, really. So that's why I call it a blended sound. You got a little bit of, Afro pop, R&B, Afro beats. So yeah, it makes it easier for people to relate to. And I think it makes it easier for people to connect to the music. I didn't just want for South Africans to be able to connect with my music, but for Africans and, globally as well, for Africans who are not in the continent.
Oh, great. And what would you say is that unique thing that you're offering to the world as far as your music is concerned?
I think it's pretty much exactly just that it's a blend of it's a little bit of this and that. And so you know, the stories that I tell in my music are very relatable. And
Yes.
I think that's what makes it quite unique, you know. I think in that sense, people of my generation and younger people and older people, they can all kind of relate to the music because it's things that everybody goes through, it's things that everybody can understand. And to be able to sing it in a way that people in Nigeria can understand, you know, that's pretty much what makes the music very special.
Wow, great. And looking at the new single that you dropped,
Yes.
Pepe, could you
Yes.
tell us just a bit about it? Why Pepe?
Okay, so the song is titled Pepe.
Yes.
And Pepe refers to pepper, and it's you know, locally used in West African cuisine. And it just basically explains the, you know, the fiery nature of the song because pepper is very spicy. And when I was coming up with the song, you know, it was in the middle of a pandemic. There was not really anywhere to go. And I would often just get dressed up to do very menial tasks, small things like go to the grocery store, go to studio. And I'd make sure like I was dressing up so I can at least for that little second feel good about myself. And that's really, you know, the idea that started the music. And naturally, as I started writing more music to it and writing the lyrics, you know, it all just kind of came together with this very African flair. And yes, Pepe just was so fitting to the heat that the song came with.
Wow. I think it brings so much hit. When I listened to the single, when we had a chance to pre-listen to it before it dropped, I could actually feel the heat and the vibe that the Pepe is bringing. But what more are we expecting from that project? Are we going to see a video dropping, or it's just
Oh,
the song?
definitely.
Great.
This is just the beginning. And you know, a lot of the times when I speak to people, they're already like, "Oh my gosh, we want to hear the rest of the music. When is the album dropping?" And
Yes, yes.
I always say to people, you know, one step at a time. There's so much going on in the world right now as well, and I think for us as musicians, it can sometimes be challenging to put out a whole lot of things all at once. You just have to be strategic about your timing. And I think that's exactly what we are trying to do with the music. We want people to hear the single and be able to enjoy it and to know it and to connect with it before we start putting out music videos as such. But yes, definitely you're going to hear a lot more, and there's a lot more content that's going to come up with the song.
Wow, great. But why did it take you so long to release a solo project? I mean, considering that you had all the ingredients of an amazing artist, from your voice
Yeah.
to your musical background, just understanding music and playing instruments. But it took you that while to finally say, here's my product.
I mean, I wouldn't say why it took me so long because, you know, when people get the final product of a song or an album, you know, you don't at first glance recognize, you know, what has sort of happened behind that. And what happens behind that is development. Development as you as a person, development as you as an artist. And for some people, they can do that within a month. Some people take, you know, years to sort of formulate that. For me, you know, my journey, music has just always sort of been there, and I was just waiting for the right time to get involved. I wasn't always sure whether I wanted to get involved in the business behind the music or the music itself. And what's really nice now is that I kind of get to be a part of both worlds and learn about the business world in the way that I have done it. I think if I was younger and I didn't understand certain things, I wouldn't have been able to be a part of the business aspect of the music as much. So for me, it's perfect timing because I'm ready, you know,
Great.
and that's the most important thing. It's not about when somebody else wants you to perform, or if somebody else wants you to put out your music, or someone who
Yes.
believes in you wants to do it. It's about you and yourself and your own timing, and when you are ready to share that part of yourself with, you know, the rest of the world.
Great. And looking at the converse, um, are there any struggles, challenges that you have faced at inception, like when you decided to get into the music industry?
Ooh, my story is it's a little bit interesting because, I left my job in corporate in 2018, and then I started slowly getting into the music and working on, my sound and just trying to develop myself as an artist. And then the pandemic happened. So that in itself was already quite a big challenge. Obviously, when you're a new artist, there's some things that you'll want to do prior to releasing, just to introduce yourself to the world. And I think losing that physical connection made it difficult to sort of create that awareness about yourself and connect with people on a very like personal level, because digital is great, social media is great, but sometimes people want to see the product, sometimes people want to feel the product, sometimes people want to get a good sense of the person that you are. You need to network, you need to know your fan base, the kind of people you're trying to connect with. And I think that was challenging for me, that I had to, start this project at a time when that was happening and I wasn't able to have that kind of connectivity with people. So yes, I'd say that was pretty challenging. And then it's always very challenging when you're a new artist and you are not signed by a record label, and you obviously, there's so much investment that's required on your part, not just financially, but just, spiritually and within yourself, the time, the effort, the ability to just focus and hone in on what you're doing. And for me, I think that can sometimes be challenging. I'm very lucky that I have a very good support structure. So, that made it a little bit easier, but it's always, yes, challenging when you are in sort of like trying to come out as an independent artist and, do your thing.
Wow, great. As a Pan-African artist, do you have any artist that you have on your radar that you'd say, I hope to collaborate with 1 to 3 artists, not necessarily South African artists, but from within the continent?
Oh, yes, definitely. And a lot of them are, African artists. I think, in Africa, there's just so much talent and so much diversity that, we can create our own narrative around new genres that are new and authentic. But yes, if I had to answer your question, I'd want to work with Wizkid, I'd want to work with Thames. There're just so many great artists right now of our time in Africa that are really pushing the passion. So I'm always open to just work with people who are aligned with the kind, of music I make, and aligned with that feeling of wanting to do something great for Africa.
That is great, because you just preempted my next question. I wanted to ask, what does it take to collaborate with Deni? Wow, great. To those that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Plot. I'm speaking there to Deni, an amazing artist. You should check her music out. She's got a new single called Pepe that is available on all music platforms. 5 years from now, where do we see Deni?
5 years from now, hopefully I'm working on, a bunch of other products. Like I said, I'm pretty passionate about getting involved in the music, the business behind the music as well. So that's something that's very important to me. It's something that I'm learning about. I don't know everything, but I'm learning continuously as I grow. And so, I want to see myself, I don't know, the sky is the limit, signing my own artists. I want to learn more about the production of music. And I want to learn more about selling music in the non-traditional ways. So I think there's a big chunk of it that has to do with the business behind the music. And then there's the music itself that, I hope it takes off. I want it to gain traction. I want to put out albums. I want to see myself receiving awards globally. And I want to get the Deni brand out there.
I see the Denny brand going out there. The way you've just started, I think, defines the future that you've set for yourself, and it's quite impressive.
Thank you.
I'm quite honored to actually have that chance to speak to you, because in the next 5 years, I'll be like, oh, wow, we actually have on our program.
I was there first.
Yes, and I mean, it will be something for us to break about. Um, if you're not listening to your own music or making your own music, which are the 5 songs or 5 artists that are on your playlist currently?
The 5 songs that are currently on my playlist. Ooh, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Sabrina Claudio.
Great.
There are a couple of artists in South Africa who released some music yesterday, like Tejo and Shikana.
Yes.
And who would my 5th one be? Oh, yes. So a great, passed away this week in South Africa. Tshepo Tsula. I don't know if you're familiar with his music,
Yes.
but that I've been listening to a lot. It's music that I grew up listening to. And, when you're an artist, geez, sometimes just playing that music back and trying to connect with that time when that music came out is so inspiring. So, may his soul rest in peace. And yes, I'd say that's those are the songs that are on my playlist as is right now, if we had to look at the last 5.
Awesome. Sincere condolences to the family of Tsepotsola and the whole music community and his fans. He was such a legend. I had an honor to meet him a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yes, when he came
That's
through
amazing.
to Zimbabwe, he was really humble, but you could actually see that, he's somebody who knew his music, the way he carried himself with so much, you could just find yourself appreciating and respecting him. He was not showy, and his music, I think, still speaks to a whole lot of things that have happened in the past and that are happening now. If I listen to Papa, I Stop the War, it's still happening in the world, and I think
Of
he
course.
leaves such a huge legacy.
Of course, and I think there are a lot of artists, who they only dream and can be inspired by that kind of journey, because everyone wants to get to a point where their music can live on beyond them being on this earth. And to really be able to get to the top of your profession and master your craft, it can only be admired. It can only be congratulated, and we can only take our notes and take lessons and try to learn something from him.
Wow, great. That's so powerful, profound. Thank you so much. It's been awesome. It's been great having you on the program.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're most welcome, and thank you so much also to your team. Just the interaction from your team, I think it points to where you're headed, and thank you so much for that.
I receive. It will happen. It will happen. I receive. And yes, I hope to one day meet you in person, hope to,
Definitely.
come and do some sort of tours in Zim, in Germany. Funny enough, I speak a little bit of German.
Oh, for real.
Yes, so exciting. It would be dope to meet you and actually share my journey with you and talk to you after more music has come out and the music video you're talking about has come out.
Yes.
And yes, just keep in touch, please.
Great. Now I'll stay in touch, but before you go, I'm just gonna put this off your feet. Just a 15 or 10-second snippet of Pepe. Some people will say I just brought in my friend, but just for them to get
so play the
song.
Why can't we play the song? We should be playing the song.
I wish I had known I would have cued the song, but yeah, definitely I will drop the link in the comment section for everybody who wants to check out the song, so that you can get the full experience of the song Pepe by Deni. Look it up, Deni _NK, right?
Yes.
On all social media platforms, and then you can also follow her and be able to experience her music.
That's correct. And guys, please follow, please subscribe, please listen, just get involved. I'm really excited to connect with my fans. So yeah, well, let me not say fans, let me say my listeners.
Nice one, nice one. Thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Great. Everybody who's been watching, it's been earGROUND. My name is Plot Marco, and this time around it's earGROUND on the ground as I'm on the ground. Until next time, stay tuned.